Tomorrow at 7 p.m. everybody understands that AI agents change the world. Set the event in my calendar.
AI agents changing the world? More like trying to teach my toaster to do calculus.
And the event is of course set into my calendar. Send a mail to Arnie that I love his course about AI automation. Agent gets triggered, Gmail tool gets triggered.
Did you thank him for teaching robots to do our jobs before they inevitably take over the world?
And if I come in my mails, there is it of course. Today I am totally toasted. Do I have something on my calendar?
Hey, look at you with the major life event of walking your dog at 6 p.m. They're really rolling out the red carpet for you, huh?
And here are of course my events. Exactly from my calendar. Search the web about news from Anthropic. Research agent gets triggered. We have the news. Write a X post about Claude. Agent gets triggered. X post gets triggered. And everything is set in Google Sheets. Add him to contact. Frank Zane, phone number and email. Contact agent gets triggered.
Ah yes, Frank Zane, because saving Mr. Universe's number is just my daily mundane task.
And there we have Frank Zane in Google Sheets. What's the mail of Sam Big from my contacts? There's the mail. Of course, the stuff from my sheets. The popularity of AI agents, automations and all these frameworks is exploding. And for a good reason. Because these things are actually starting to getting really good. The best time to get in AI automation is right now. Because these are the worst tools that will ever be.
AI agents, the only thing evolving faster than your excuses for not going to the gym.
This video is by the way a small part of my whole AI automation course. It is the first link in the description. In this course you find 19 complete projects, all the basics and everything that you need. And you can download all my workflows as JSON format. We built these workflows with n8n. You can simply Google n8n, press on the first link and get started for free. Here you get access 2 weeks completely for free in a cloud interface. n8n is open source and you can also host it on your own local machine either with Node.js or with Docker. You can also host it on Render, on AWS, on Azure or on your own servers, but for this small tutorial you can simply press here get started for free. It's the easiest way. After you have made your account, you will be in a canvas like this. And the first thing that you should do is to press create workflow. Now you are in this empty canvas. If you press on this plus, you see that this is always the first step. If you press on it, we always start with a trigger. We need always a trigger and an action in order to make an automation. And you see you have a lot of trigger events. You can trigger manually. If you press on these, this thing will get added. And if you press this workflow, you see if this thing is green, it's all good. Let's just delete this, press plus once again. You can also use on app events and here you find countless triggers. You can connect everything. You can use Google Calendar triggers, Google Drive, Sheets, HubSpot, Facebook leads, WhatsApp, Telegram and basically everything that you can think of. Besides that you have also on schedule trigger. You can trigger workflows for example every day one time. Or every single minute. You can also use on webhook call if you want to make HTTP requests from other tools to n8n. You can use a on form submission and you also have when executed by another workflow. If you use this trigger node, we can basically call this workflow from another workflow from n8n. Don't worry, we will do this later in this video. I want to start with Telegram, because Telegram seems to be a trigger that is really popular. And what we want to use of course is to use the on message trigger and then you are connected. Now here you see I already have a few Telegram accounts, but of course most likely you have none. So you press of course create new credentials and now we need these credentials. You can also press on open documentation once again to see for yourself how this works. What you need of course is a Telegram account and you can also follow always this documentation. Here you are in Telegram and you can make an account. I will not show you how to do this because like everybody should be able to create an account into Telegram. But what's a little bit tricky, at least for some people, is the API bot access token. This will refer to the Telegram bot API. Of course, you also have a documentation here and you will get the Telegram bot features. Of course, you can also integrate this with webhooks, but webhooks make it more confusing than it should be. So basically instead of this trigger node, you could eventually also use another trigger node. You could trigger Telegram also via webhook, more on webhooks later, but for now let's just keep it simple and we use this trigger node And in order to use this trigger node, you need your access token from Telegram. And of course, you need the good old BotFather to do that. So we simply open the BotFather. Now you are here, and what I like to do is to simply open Telegram on my desktop, and then we need to start with this BotFather. I have Telegram already installed. And of course I have also this BotFather. So please just install Telegram first on your machine here and also on your phone if you want to access it from your phone, and then simply press on this button to open it on your desktop. Then you will be in this chat, and in this chat you can simply talk to this thing. So you can simply type in /new bot in order to create a new bot. If you simply type in /, you see all the commands. You find /new bot, /my bot, /my apps and so on. The first thing that you need to do is to press new bot. And then you can simply talk to this thing or write a new bot. How are we going to call it? Please choose a name for your bot. Let's just call it n8n_course_test, and we send this out. Good, now let's just use a username for your bot. It must end with bot. And here is an example, Tetris bot. What we want to do is, let's just call it n8n_, also here, course_bot. Let's just use 2 E's here so that we are not confused, and we send this out. And now we get the things back that we need. We have this chat, we can simply press on this chat to access this bot later, but the most important thing right now is of course this token. We can access this also with HTTP requests. This is simply our token, and we need to copy this token. We come back into n8n. We create, of course, a new credentials just like we did previously. Then the access token, we simply throw in this access token here. The base URL is, of course, the Telegram API. This is automatically included. Then we press save, and this thing should be green right now. Boom, there we have it, and you know it. Green is good. Then you can close this down, and right now, in theory at least, we can simply press test workflow and we can trigger this workflow. If we come into Telegram, we can simply press on this bot here. Now we are in n8n course test, and you can simply press start. Then we send it out /start to our Telegram trigger node, and you see that everything seems to work. If you come here, you see that from me, the text /start came through. So our first trigger node seems to work. And if we want that we always talk to this thing, we can simply activate it, press got it, and if we press or type in hey once again, we can come back to executions, and you see that the execution comes through here. And we give this our new name, so let's just say Telegram 2, and we go on of course with our next node. So we press plus. But right now we need a different node because we want to classify, we also want to talk to this bot. What I want to use right now is the switch node. We press on it, and the switch node, we want to have 2 values here. Let's just see if this thing is connected. Yes, it's connected. We can also once again type in hey here, so you see it's simply the same chat. So right now you saw that here we have some data, and right now we can map this data. I want to map this in audio and into text, so that we can simply classify our answers. Because here in Telegram you see that you can also talk to your bot. What we want to do is value 1, we want to have text as value 1, we throw it in here. Then we want to rename this output, and we simply call it text. And this text here we want to have of course a string, and we want to have exist. So if the string exists, this route will get triggered. And then we want to add another routing rule. The other routing rule, we call it audio. And then we need to give, of course, an audio value. But right now we do not have an audio value, so we need to get one. So let's just get an audio. And we do it by pressing on test workflow. We come back into Telegram. This is a test event. We send this out. Right now we have audio. We can press on it. Right now you see audio value. We find the audio on the left side. Down here you see voice, and what you want to use is the file ID. So we throw in the file ID here. Boom, there we have our classification. So if we have text, our first route will get triggered, and if we have audio, our second rule will get triggered. Let's just test it. If we press on test workflow, and if I type in hey, we should in theory trigger the first route. So you see it here. If we do it once again, press on it, and use the audio as route, you will see that we get the second route down here. If you press on it, You see that the second route, the audio route, got triggered. At least in theory it should work. Why it did not work, I hope you saw it. I have forgot something previously. It's of course not equals to is string and it's exist. So right now it should work. Test workflow. This is our second audio test because I was stupid. And right now it's green, so right now it seems to work. So you see right now our audio route is existing and now we can go on with our workflow. Now we want to go on with the text route. We press plus. We want to use the edit node, edit field set, we press on it. Right now we have no data, so of course we need to do it as always, test workflow. We type in hey, then we have of course our data, the data comes through, we can press on this field, we can give this thing a name, for example text, and then we use the value from here. Let's just see where it is. It is of course the text hey, so we can throw in the value here as text. If you press that step, this thing should come through as JSON and it's called hey of course. So this thing seems to work. The next thing that I want to use is the advanced AI and the AI agent. And the AI agent, we press on the find below and we use the text from our edit field. We use the text, we throw it in here. And then we can also just close this down, press plus because we need a chat model. Let's just use once again, let's just say GPT-4 Omni. I think we need the big one, the small one is like way too weak for our use case right here. Small cut in the video, if you have never done this, you need to connect your credentials. Because this is normally a longer course, I have not included it, but I want to cut this in right now. So if you never ever connected OpenAI with n8n, you can press here. Create new credentials, and here you need to throw in the API key from OpenAI. You Google OpenAI platform or OpenAI playground, you press on it, you come to the dashboard, you press on API keys, you press create new key, you give it a name and press create secret key. You can copy this key, come back to n8n, you can insert this key here, and you press save. And as soon as this thing is green, you are connected with your OpenAI API account. If you never made an API key in OpenAI previously, you need to come to your profile, billing, payment methods, and here you need to add your credit card, because you need to pay the tokens that you are creating. If you use GPT-4 Omni, for example, you pay $2.50 for 1 million input tokens and $10 for 1 million output tokens. 1 million tokens are roughly 750,000 words, so you can do a lot with it. But make sure to don't use GPT 4.5. And if you use GPT 4 Mini, it's like nearly for free, come on. And right now we can chat with this thing. So we can test this out. If we simply type in hey once again, our AI agent will get triggered, and if you open this up, let's just see, hello, how can I assist you today, is the answer from our AI agent node. But of course we want to talk with this thing, but we have a problem. If you go on this thing right here, the GPT-4 Omni model, this is not a multi-model model. Of course you can use, for example, the GPT-4 audio preview. This would be multimodal, so you can simply connect this field also here, but only if you use the multimodal AI. Because we do not use this, I think this is way too expensive. We want to do it with a different way. So we want to press plus. We want to have whisper here in between, so that we get a transcript from our audio, and the transcript will then come into our AI model, and then it should work. Before we can use whisper, we need Telegram, we press on it, and we need get file. Let's just see, there it is. Right now we have no data, so we will get the data soon. The file ID, we need later the file ID. Let's just type in some numbers so that we can test this out. Let's just press test workflow. This is once again a test event. It comes through. This thing of course is red because we have not connected it correctly. And right now we can give the file ID, so we would delete this of course. If you have already data, you can skip this step with the file ID. You find the file ID down here, voice, file ID, we throw the file ID in here, and then download needs to be toggled on because you want to download this thing. If you press that step, you will be able to download your data. Boom, there we have our data, and with this downloaded data we can go on. Because this downloaded data we need Whisper in order to make a transcript from these. So we press plus here. Now Whisper, I do not think that Whisper is included, no, so we need of course the OpenAI node. So we press on it, transcribe a recording, and we can include this. Our OpenAI credentials are connected, resource is audio, the operation is transcribe a recording, and the input field is of course data, so it's basically this data that comes here through, and it's binary, everything is automatically correct, so we press test step, and then in theory we should get this thing right here. This is once again a test event. This is of course the stuff that I told in Telegram previously, so this thing seems to work perfectly. We can close this down, so right now we make a transcript out of this thing. Let's just organize this a little bit. So what we want to do right now is of course to use this transcript and to connect it with our AI agent node. Now this thing from the second root is now also connected to our AI agent, and we need to press on it once again. And once again we need to press on define below. We come back to schema and we include this text from OpenAI. So you can also delete this from previous, and we throw in this stuff down here. This one is a test event, you see it. So let's just see if this is working. Test workflow. Hey ChatGPT, how are you doing? We send this out, we get our transcript, the AI agent node gets us an answer. And if you press on it, hello, I'm just a program, and so on. And now let's just test the text root. So we press on it once again. We type in, hey, it does not really matter, and we also get our answer back. So this is important. Here you see that you will get this completely automatical. So as soon as you use this edit fields text root, our text from JSON will get executed, and if not, of course, also our OpenAI root will get triggered. So this seems to work perfectly. What I like to do right now is of course also to include once again a Windows buffer memory, because I think like a buffer memory is always a cool tool to have. So we simply use the memory, the Windows buffer memory, we include it. Of course we need to press define below. We want to have it once again for 10 messages. We want to have the key, and the key is of course the chat ID. So we simply come back to the chat ID and throw in the chat ID down here, and then we are connected. So right now we have of course also our chat ID included with our Windows buffer memory. Seems to work just fine, at least for me. Right now we have a simple agent that we can trigger via voice and also via messages. But of course we want to talk with this thing inside of Telegram. So of course we need to add Telegram once again. And this time it's of course send a text message. We included Telegram for message, send message, then we need the chat ID and the text of course, and you find both of it here. So the chat ID is this one here, and the text is of course the text that comes from the AI agent as output. Hello, how can I assist you today? It's this thing down here, and then we can test it with testing workflow. We open up Telegram. What is an LLM? Explain it fast and easy. We get our transcript, AI agent works, and it tells me what it is. Then we press on it, because once again I do not want to have the n8n attribution, so we toggle it off. We test workflow once again, and we test also the text route. We press send, and boom, hello, how can I assist you today? Now we include mails. So let's just search for, let's just say Gmail, the Gmail tool. And what I want to have is my Gmail account connected. If you do not have it connected, just please create new credentials. Because you are working in the cloud, you can simply press sign in with Google, so this is really easy and fast. So we close this down, I am already connected. The tool description set automatically perfect. Resource is message. The operation is first, let's just say get many, because I want to have here a little bit of a summary of my mails. I do not want to have too much, let's just say maximum of 10. It should be simplified and all of this should work. So right now Gmail is included, and now we go of course into my AI agent once again, add options, system message, we make it as an expression, we make it big, and now we should start to build out our system prompt, and we will make this bigger over time. And we start with something like this. Role. You are an assistant with access to multiple tools. I just call it multiple because we will add more tools later. Behavior. You respond concisely and succinctly in a friendly and approachable style. Tools. You have access to multiple tools. Always use the appropriate one depending on the task. And one tool is of course the Gmail summary. Use this tool to summarize emails. And of course the Gmail summary tool, we can simply copy these. We come back to Gmail and we need to call this also Gmail summary so that we don't have any confusion. So we want to rename it. And right now, let's just see if this thing is working or not. Test workflow. We can press on it. Summarize my last 3 emails. We will send this out. Let's just see, this thing will get triggered and now we will get a summary of my last 3 mails and I will get my summary into Telegram. Let's just see if I can show you these mails. Here are the summaries of my last 3 mails. I have a new customer in one of my products. I have an email about the Make Affiliate program and I have an email about a podcast episode. And if I come back to my mails, I can show you this thing right here that I have a new customer here, but everything else I just don't want to show everything else from my mails. But this thing was accurate. Next thing, I want to also send mails. So I press plus, I use the Gmail tool once again. So Gmail tool, let's just use this time Gmail account, set automatically, message, send. Then to who do I want to send? I can simply let the AI decide, or I can also use a bind convector store, upsert my email addresses and do a lot more. The subject should the AI decide. The type is text. You can also use HTML, use whatever you like. And the message should also the AI decide. So let's just send the email. But before we do this, we need to specify our system prompt. I want to make this big. Besides the Gmail summary, I have my second tool right now. Gmail Send. Use this tool to send emails. You sign every mail with Arnie and never use empty placeholders for names. Ensure that the email are well formatted with a proper body. And I think this is fine. So what we want to do right now is to press test workflow. Let's just type in here some text. Send a mail to this email. Tell him I love the n8n course, and I send it out. It seems to work, everything gets triggered, and Telegram says to me I've sent the email letting them know that you love the n8n course. And if I come back to my mails, feedback on n8n course, I can press on it. Hey there, I just wanted to let you know that I absolutely love the n8n course, and so on. Best regards, Arnie, because we have told this tool that it should always sign off these emails with Arnie. Here is hey there, because I don't have specified any names in this email address. I can simply tell here send a mail to Arnie and let him know and so on. I hope you know what I mean. But what we want to do is, of course, as always, press on it, add options, append n8n attribution. We want to toggle this off. And let's just test this once again. Send a mail to, let's just say, Frank, and tell him good job. His mail is this right here, and then we send this out. Now we need to press test workflow once again, of course. Now our workflow gets executed. Telegram tells me that the email was sent to Frank. Hey Frank, just wanted to drop a quick note to say good job, best Arnie. And this time also no n8n attribution at the bottom. So also this seems to work. Now let's just add the calendar. So we press plus. What we want to do is to use the calendar tool. So Google Calendar tool. On this Google Calendar, a few things are important. Let's just say Google Calendar account. You need to connect, of course, these. So please just press create new and sign in with your Google account if you work in the cloud. And if you work locally, you can also do this with this Google Cloud Console. We have already done this a lot of times. So let's just throw this out of the window because we are connected. The tool description is automatically. The resource is event. The operation is create because I want to create new events. Then the calendar list. I just use this calendar here so that I can show you later. And then these things are important. Start and end. Here we want to have the AI deciding. We do not want to have that every event starts now. So the AI should decide. And also the AI should decide when the event needs to end. So that we can simply type in our chat. Then you see, use the default reminders, work for me. Everything else should working right now. Calendar, Google Calendar. I want to rename this. Let's just fix first the system prompt. So we go on to the system prompt. And here we need to do something special right now. Before we start with our tools, I want to do this right here. Date and time, 2 curly braces. This is now really important. A $sign. And we want to have now here so that the thing always knows what's the date and the time. This is really, really important. And then we add, of course, our calendar tool. Let's just call it calendar set. Use this tool to schedule appointments in the calendar. So we copy these, we come back here, and this Google Calendar, we call it, of course, let's just see, calendar set, and we press rename, so that we will absolutely use this thing every time that we want to create new events. You also need to make sure to press on these three dots, go on to settings, and please remember to use the right time zone so that you do not have any problems with this thing. Now this thing knows what time zone I am living in, and it also knows, because of the system prompt, what time and the date is right now. So let's just test this out. Let's just create an event in my calendar. So this is a calendar that is relatively empty. Today is the 26th. So let's just create an event, for example, for today at, let's just say, in an hour. So let's just say at 5 p.m. We come back here, test workflow, create an event in the calendar. I want to drink a coffee with my mom at 5 p.m. We get our transcript, agent gets triggered, and we have a problem. Why do we have this problem? What's the date for the coffee with your mom? Have I forgot to say this? Create an event in the calendar today. Today I want to drink a coffee with my mom at 5 p.m. Test workflow. It gets triggered. And this time it seems to work. I've scheduled your coffee with your mom today at 5 p.m. and show your time together if there's anything else, and you so on. And you see also the calendar set gets triggered. Let's just come into my calendar, and the calendar is 5 p.m. and if I press on it, yeah, right now we have a small problem. We do not have any name for this, so let's just fix this. We come back to the calendar. We need to have additional fields. Let's just see summary, and the AI should decide. So right now we should also get a title. I think this works better. Save, test workflow, we open Telegram, and let's just do something else. Today at 6 p.m. I need to walk my dog. You should throw it in the calendar. It's working and so on. I've added and so on at 6 p.m. Now we come in the calendar and there we have it. 6 p.m. walk the dog. And if I open it up, it's perfect. So 6 p.m. like 30 minutes, but we can also be more specific because we have also the end date. Let's just test once again with the end date, test workflow. Tomorrow at 7 a.m. I need to walk the dog. It will last 2 hours. You should throw it in the calendar. Agent is working, we trigger the right tool, and we get the message hopefully back, boom. So from 7 to 9, let's just go in the calendar, and there we have it. At 7, walk the dog, and if we open this thing up, it lasts 2 hours until 9. So you see, the calendar set works completely perfect. Let's go on. We want to have a calendar get event, so press plus, no, let's just actually press plus here. Calendar get, so we press on calendar. Google Calendar account set automatically. Event is this time get, no, actually get many, because I want to have a lot of events. We want to use this calendar. Return all, yeah, I think it's fine. With 50 limits, I just have some data here. Time, the AI should decide. Also here the AI should decide. And there we have it. Now we come into the system prompt and we add once again a small little tool to our agent. Calendar get. Use this tool to find calendar events and inform me when I have an appointment. I copy this calendar get and I want to rename the calendar, of course, to calendar get and rename it. Now let's just see if we find these events. Test workflow. Do I have something on the calendar today? The AI decides, uses most likely the calendar get, there we have it. And now we will get the message back. Today you have 2 events actually. So coffee with mom from 5 to 6, walking the dog 6 to 6:30. This works, we have already created these. And what do I have to do tomorrow? Because of our Windows buffer memory, this should work. If I press test workflow, let's just see. We have the context that it should search for the calendar events. There we have it. So in the morning from 7 to 9, I need to walk the dog once again. And at 5, I have a live call. And if we come back to my calendar, let's just close this down. You see, at 7, I need to walk the dog. And at 5, I need to have a live call. So boom, there we have it. We have a gigantic agent that works really, really well. And it was relatively easy to create. We want to make this agent bigger, with more sub-workflows, and we also want that this agent is talking back to us. The first thing that I want to do right now at this minute is to copy this agent, because this can be a good structure for our agent. So we simply copy all of this agent, we come back to our personal account, we can save these changes of course, then we press create new. I call it Telegram free right now. Telegram free, this will be a gigantic agent. We include this agent, and what we do right now is to delete the stuff that we do not need. I don't want to have, for example, the Gmail summary, the Gmail send, the calendar set, and the calendar get, because here we want to have sub workflows. And later we also want to include that this agent is talking to us. So first things first, we go of course into our system prompt, we make it big. This thing is all right. Then Gmail summary, Gmail send. Yeah, this is not correct. We want to make it a little bit different. I want to delete this thing. We just want to have the Gmail, let's just call it tool. Use this tool every time you need to do something with mails. If you send a mail, you sign every mail with Arnie and so on. Yes, I think our Gmail tool is right. And then, not the calendar set and get, we just use calendar tool. Use this tool every time you need to do something with the calendar. And we delete this right here. Don't worry, you will get what we do right here. Then I want to include the research agent. For the research agent, I do something like this. Search agent, use this tool to search the web, hacker news and Wikipedia. And of course, we will add more stuff later, and we will also add that this thing will talking back to us. So let me just show you what we do here. Of course, we are connected with Telegram. This is basically just the same workflow as previous. Everything is connected similarly, but we want to make this a lot bigger and a lot more useful. We press on tools. What we want to do right now is of course call n8n workflows. And the first thing that I want to include here is of course this thing. Our search agent. I hope you see what we do here. I hope you get it. We will call sub workflows every time. And then the description. Use this tool to search the web, hacker, news, and Wikipedia. That's basically it. Then we press on it, we come down, and we use, of course, the tool from previous. And it was the Telegram 1 sub workflow search. The workflow that I have connected here looks something like this. I have created this already in this course in a previous video. We start with a workflow input trigger, we use an AI agent, we use a chat model from OpenAI, and we simply use Wikipedia, Hacker News and the SERP API as tools. And the start node is here of course when called by another workflow. So we can basically talk with this agent over our other agent. Don't worry, I will also explain it in this video in a little bit more detail. And if it's too fast, remember you can find everything in this course with all these workflows as downloads. So with this thing, we can search the web. Now let's just test this thing out for one brief moment so that we see if this is working or not. And then we can go on with the sub workflows. We press on it, we open this thing up. Are there some news about Anthropic? Call workflow will get triggered. And of course, we have the information about Anthropic from February 2025. So you see this is right. If we come back to personal, go to the Telegram sub-search agent, executions. You saw that an execution comes through right at this minute, so this seems to work. So the first thing is working, and now we go on. We will connect more and more and more sub-workflows. This will make a lot of fun, so we can make this really big. And the first thing is that we want to rename this tool, of course. It's the search agent. Copy and rename it. Boom. Now we want to have the sub workflow for Gmails, and I want to show you how we can do this. We come on personal, we save this of course, create new workflow. And in order to not bore you, I have already created this thing and you can simply copy this thing. We call this like sub mail agent. And while I am cutting this video, I see this is of course not the sub mail agent, this is the sub calendar agent, excuse me. It makes more sense if you name this correctly. It's of course called by other workflows. So we can simply throw in here and we accept all data. Then we have the calendar agent tool where ChatGPT is connected with GPT-4 Omni of course. Then we have the calendar agent with a good system prompt, so role. You are a calendar agent. Your tasks include creating, retrieving and deleting events in the user's calendar. Tools, get events, create events, update events, create events with @10d, and lastly date and time of course. And then we have all these events. So we have the calendar get event, resources event, operation is get many. It's of course my calendar. Return all is on, but let's just set a limit at 50. This is more than enough. It's of course defined automatically by the model, and the model gives me here a German description because I speak German normally, so this is fine. Just leave it as it is. Maybe this is in English for you. Then we have the create event, and the create event is of course basically the same thing, but create my calendar, and the model decides how to do this. Then we have the create event with @10d. If you need it, you can also delete this. This is basically the same stuff. Then we have the update events and we have the delete events. And we have also two exciting nodes here. We have the success node and the try again node. So if the calendar event gets triggered correctly, it's basically success and it stops. And if it's not successfully, we need to do it again. So the AI will simply work again. So we want to save this. And what we want to do right now is to come back to personal. We come back to our Telegram agent 3. We press plus. We use call n8n workflow. And we call this workflow just like we have here. We use the calendar tool. We copy these. We open this up. We call it calendar tool here. Also calendar tool here. Use this tool every time you need to do something in the calendar. Source is of course database, and now we need from list, and in the list we will find the sub mail agent. We can press on these. And also here of course sub calendar agent will make more sense, not the sub mail agent. I have only saw this while I am cutting this video, excuse me. So this thing should work right now. Let's just test this out. We can test workflow, create an event for tomorrow in my calendar. At 11 AM I need to walk my dog. Like I have to walk my dog often, come on, I should be a little bit more creative. Calendar tool will get triggered. And the agent tells me that it worked. If I come in my calendar, you see that tomorrow at 11 AM I need to walk my dog once again. And if we come back to personal, save this of course, you see on executions that we got an execution. So we can do everything with this calendar tool. We can also delete events. So let's just test the deleting of the events. Personal Telegram account 3, test workflow. Of course, later you can press this to active. Delete the event from tomorrow where I want to walk my dog at 11 AM. Gets triggered. Calendar tool gets also triggered. Should be deleted right now. Let's just go into my calendar and you see the event for tomorrow is deleted. So basically with this agent, you can do a lot of things right now with this calendar tool. You can create new events on your calendar. You can get the events so you can see what's on your calendar. You can create events with attendees. You can update events and you can delete events. So this thing can do everything just for you. And I think we should go on, shouldn't we? Because this makes a lot of fun. So we come back, of course, into our Telegram account. We have the research agent, we have the calendar agent. Now we want to have the email agent. So we press plus, call n8n workflow tool. We give it a name. It's, of course, the Gmail tool. We copy these. We give it a name. So this thing right here. Use this tool every time you need to do something with mails. And then the database, of course, we need to define the database first. So let's just define the database. We need to create this thing. I have already created one, so I want to show you how this works. First of all, let's just save this, come back to personal, create new workflow, and I will show you how this works. Here we have the sub workflow for the mails. So I call it sub workflow mails. We start, of course, once again with accept all data, with this when triggered by another workflow. We have our email agent. Of course, the text is always the query that comes through. Then here on the system prompt role, your task is to manage, read and write Arnie's emails. If you simply copy this workflow, make sure to insert your name here. Make sure to use the correct tools based on the request. Then some information, date and time is now. Your format, emails professionally, following standard email writing conversations. The name at the end of the email after the closing is always Arnie. Make sure to insert your name. Then some examples. So the send email to, use the send email tool. Reply to this email with a draft, use the save reply draft tool. Then the tools, get the email, save email draft, send email, save reply draft, send reply, get labels, label emails, mark read, mark unread. So you basically see you have access to everything. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, this thing will try again. So we simply press save and we connect this with our other agent. So we come back to our personal assistant. We press on Telegram 3. We press here the Gmail tool, of course. And then we can choose this from the list. It's of course sub workflow mails. You can press on these and now we have access to every single thing from our Gmail account. Let's just test this out. Send a mail to my email, write Paul a poem about AI. If I send this out, most likely the Gmail tool will get triggered and then normally I should get a mail into my inbox, but of course you can insert every prompt that you want. Basically it's done. If I come back to my inbox, you see, there is a reply. Of course, you can nail this more down with a better format. I think I will use text instead of HTML. This will make it most of the time a little bit more readable. So let's just come back to personal, save this, the mail agent, the send email. Instead of HTML, let's just use text. Most of the time this works a bit better. I do not know why. Send reply. I want to do the same thing. Let's just use text here. And the rest should be fine. Now let's just test something else about this Gmail tool. Test workflow. Summarize my last 3 emails from the inbox. This thing is working. Gmail tool gets triggered. And this thing tells me that I have an error. So this is, you see, like we try to push the boundaries. And if I come into execution on my sub workflow, you also see that I have this error here. So this is basically how this works. Maybe if the models get just a little bit smarter, this will work. You can just delete some of this stuff if it's not really necessary for you. You can work your way slowly up or just delete stuff from here. This makes some problems from time to time, especially if we talk with these things. Let's just try this once again. Test workflow. Summarize my last 3 mails. Mail tool gets triggered once again. And this time it worked. But I have to tell you, this can make some problems from time to time. I personally would recommend you to make these automations a little bit smaller. Maybe as soon as you see this course. We have a new model from OpenAI, or maybe you can try this with the Claude 3.7 Sonnet, because this is also a little bit better in tool use. But I have to tell you, we are pushing the boundaries. We are trying to make stuff happening that is really hard to get right. So as soon as you make these workflows gigantic, you will get some errors from time to time, but like I told you, we are here to push the boundaries. So the Gmail tool works, but it does not work all the time. Let's just go on and make this bigger, because this agent works completely fine. Here we can add stuff. The only problem right now is, of course, our sub workflow with these mails. So we can simply go on and maybe delete 1 or 2 things from here that you don't use all the time. So we come back here, we press create new workflow, and I want to import something from you, and we can include this. Here I have the sub workflow for X posts. We start once again, of course, with accept all data when triggered by another workflow. Then we have our social media agent. It's a tool agent. And the tool agent has of course a nice little system prompt. You are an expert in creating high quality, engaging and modern posts for X, formerly Twitter. You receive information and generate posts that are concise and informative without unnecessary details, engaging and dynamic, trending and optimized, structured for readability. Then the post style. Your post should primarily focus on AI topics and often start with this format. XYZ just dropped XYZ and people are already doing crazy stuff with it. 10 examples. So this is a format that seems to work extremely well with AI content on X. I know a lot of profiles that use exactly this structure to start their posts. Then important when creating a post, always use the Save Post tool to store it. Then the tools you see, it's the Save Post. Use this tool to save the post in a Google Sheets document. Include column 1, current date, column 2, post topic, column 3, post content in plain text. And then you see that on these tools I have this Save Post tool. It's connected with GPT-4 Omni, of course, with my credentials. And the Save Post tool is simply connected with Google Sheets. It's simply from this list. And here we have mapped manually date, theme and posts, and the AI can decide these variables. And you see also in this post here, X posts, date, theme and post. So let's just see if this works or not. If we simply save this, come back to personal, use our gigantic workflow here, press plus to add a tool, call n8n workflow. We simply call it, let's just say X posts, the name X posts, use this tool to post on X, database from list. It's of course our sub workflow X posts. Rename, save, system prompt. We make it big. We do this right here. X posts, use this tool to post on X. And now let's just see how this is working. So we simply save this, and what I want to do right now is that our search agent searches something in the web, and then our X post agent should go on and post it. Search the news about Claude 3.7 Sonnet and make a X post about it. We send it out, we press test workflow, this thing gets triggered. First we trigger the search agent. The search agent will come most likely back with the results. Then our OpenAI node works again. The X post agent works again. We get our Telegram message. Telegram tells me that it is done basically. So let's just come back to personal, sub workflow X posts. On editors, you see that this seemed to work. So let's just go into my Google Sheets. We have the date, we have the theme, and we have the post. Claude 3.7 Sonnet just dropped on AWS and people are already doing crazy stuff with it. 10 examples. Achieved 60.4% on a leaderboard and so on. Yeah, this could be maybe also a little bit better. This is why I don't like to post immediately at X, but you see, at least it seems to work. Because in theory, you can also come back to this editor. You can simply press plus. You can search, for example, on the X API, X, or let's just call it Twitter, X formerly Twitter tool. You can include this, then you can connect your credential, of course. The description set automatically, the resource is tweet, the operation is create, and then the text you throw in, the text of course from your AI agent, and then you can also post immediately. That's something that you can do, but that's something that I would not necessarily recommend, because this thing can always make mistakes, and that's why I do not like to post immediately. This is more for the purpose of trying these things out. These things will come. Just trust me. You will simply can type into Telegram, post on X, and then you are ready to rock. But for right now, we are not at this point, so we need to work with the stuff that we have. So simply try with this a little bit. Save it, for example, in Google Sheets or wherever you like. You can also save it as a normal text file if you like. Maybe this makes more sense for you. And then you see that you will save a lot of time over time as soon as this stuff gets better. We are on the cutting edge of technology here. So please, remember, LLMs can always have some downsides. Let's go on, we are not done. Personal, create workflow, Here we have this contact agent, and let me show you what this contact agent can do. Let's just assume that you have contacts in a Google Sheet. For example, name, email, and the phone number. This could be leads, this could be whatever for your business. Then we have this agent. We use, of course, as always, accept all data by triggering this workflow. Then we have the contact agent. Here we have a nice system prompt. Role, you are an assistant for contact management. Your tasks include retrieving contacts, adding new contacts, and updating contact information. The tools, get contacts. Use this tool to retrieve contact information, and then add contacts. Use this tool to save new contact information. And then you see we have access, of course, to GPT-4 Omni as the LLM. Then we have get contacts from Google Sheets. So we have basically just contacts from the list. So it's basically this Google Sheet. And then we also have add contacts. It's basically also this Google Sheet. We map everything manually. We use email. We let the AI decide name. We let the AI decide and phone. We let the AI decide. Then we save this. Then we need to give it a name. Let's just say sub workflow contact agent. We press save. Come back on personal. We come into our other agent. We press plus on these tools. Call n8n workflow, name, contact, agent, we also rename it here, contact agent, use this tool to get contacts and save new contacts from list, sub workflow contact agent, and we are basically done. We press save and we test this out. Test workflow, add this to contacts, Arnold Oberleiter, then my mail, and then a random phone number. We send this out, agent gets triggered, we use the contact agent, we get our message back, we come to personal, sub workflow contact agent, executions, add contact was triggered, we come to Google Sheets, and you see in the Google Sheets is right now my contact. And right now I want to show you that this should also work if we come back to personal, use our agent, test workflow, we can also get these contact names. Give me the email from, let's just say Peter Small from my contacts. Seems to work. peter@beat.com. So you see, all of this is working. And right now we do the most exciting part. We want to add something that this thing is talking back to us. So we throw this thing here out a little bit. We want to have here a new node. I want to have a basic LLM chain. Then we come back here, define below. We go on to expression. We go on schema. We want, of course, the output from this AI agent and we throw this in. Now, we do not want to have that this thing tells me exactly what this thing is telling us. I want to do something special. I want to add a prompt. We press on define below. We make this as expression. We make it big. And now we do something really funny. You are Sally, a funny guy that makes sarcastic comments and funny anecdotes about topics. You try to roast the topics and be really funny about it. Or, and insult a bit. And then we do this right here, topics. And the topic is always the output from the AI. Now we can close this down because we need a model. So we press plus. We use, let's just say once again, an OpenAI model. We use GPT-4 Omni. I think Omni is more fun than the mini model. So this thing is right now connected. Yeah, let's just throw it here. It's okay for me. Let's just test this step and see if we get something back or not. No input data yet. So we need input data first. Test workflow. What is a LLM? Agent is working. This chain is working. Now we get this back. And if we press on this chain, oh, the majestic LLM, the shiny new and so on. I think this is too long. You answer really short. Just one or two punchy lines. This thing should be fine right now. Test workflow. I want to ask this thing once again. Let's just see. LLM in AI, teaching computers to speak human, because we clearly need more gibberish online. LLM in education, more degrees, more depth. But hey, now you can sue AI for stealing your job. Yeah, this is great. Just not one or two, I think just one punchy line would be perfect for us. So this thing should work right now, but this thing should talk and not only write to us. So we press plus, we use OpenAI, generate audio. By the way, you can also analyze images, you can generate images, you can do whatever you want. But for this tutorial, generate audio, I think then this thing is big enough. We have our credentials, resources audio, operation is generate audio, then the model, TTS1 or TTS1 HD, this is up to you, just use what you like, the normal one is a bit cheaper to use. Then the text input, now this is important, here we need the text input of the basic LLM chain and not of the normal LLM chain, because we just want to have these punchy lines as voices. And what's the voice? I think Aloe is fine, but you can play with these voices from OpenAI a bit. I think Aloe sounds nice. We can press test step, and yes, this should work. Basically, everything that we need right now is the Telegram node so that we also get a message. So Telegram, we press on it, and here we want to have sent an audio file. We are connected, Telegram account and so on. Everything that we need right now is of course the chat ID. And for the chat ID, we need of course some data. Let's just press here 1A so that we can get the data through and then we can finish this workflow. Once again, what is a LLM? Our thing is working, it's generating. Boom, the last thing that we need is of course our chat ID here, so we can press on it, schema, then we can scroll down, it's the chat ID here, we can delete this, we throw in the chat ID, that's it. File needs to be binary because we send audio files, so the input binary field is here data and the reply markup is none, so this works. And now this thing should work, at least in theory, so let's just save it and now we can test it out. We can press on Telegram once again. What is a LLM? We send it out. Of course, test workflow. We get our answers back here and also here. So here we get the normal answer. What's an LLM? And here we get our salty assault.
Got it. Either a nerdy AI that writes better essays than you, or a fancy degree for writing legal gibberish in style.
Perfect. This works perfect for me. We can do it. Come on. Let's just test this thing out a few times. Before we test it, the most important thing here in the system prompt. Share the video if you like it. Send this video to a friend if this thing was helpful. Test workflow. What is an LLM? Agent gets triggered, LLM chain gets triggered.
An LLM and AI are law. One generates words, the other generates debt.
Haha, perfect. What is an AI agent? Explain it fast.
AI agents, the only thing evolving faster than your excuses for not going to the gym.
Perfect. Will AI agents change the world?
AI agents. They're like teenagers, promise to change the world, but mostly ask dumb questions and play video games.
Nice, nice. And here we always get the normal answer. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. everybody understands that AI agents will change the world. Set the event in my calendar. Seems to work. Calendar tool gets triggered. LLM chain gets triggered.
AI agents change the world. Sounds like the plot of a bad sci-fi movie starring my toaster.
Perfect, perfect. Let's just test it actually with my phone because we can access this from wherever. Test workflow. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. everybody understands that AI agents change the world. Set the event in my calendar.
AI agents changing the world? More like trying to teach my toaster to do calculus.
And the event is of course set into my calendar. What is an AI agent?
AI agents, because even robots need a hobby pretending to be smarter than us.
Send a mail to Arnie that I love his course about AI automation. Agent gets triggered. Gmail tool gets triggered.
Did you thank him for teaching robots to do our jobs before they inevitably take over the world?
And if I come in my mails, there is it of course. Today I am totally toasted. Do I have something on my calendar?
Hey, look at you with the major life event of walking your dog at 6 p.m. They're really rolling out the red carpet for you, huh?
And here are of course my events. Exactly from my calendar. Search the web about news from Anthropic. Research agent gets triggered. We have the news.
1. Hybrid reasoning models, because regular confusion wasn't complex enough. 2. Claude 3.7. Finally, a sonnet that's guaranteed to outbore Shakespeare. 3.5 billion fundraiser? They're charging us for believing in headlines now too, huh? 461.5 valuation? More zeros than my dating life.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. Let's just make an X post. Write a X post about Claude. Agent gets triggered. X post gets triggered.
Claude 3.7, making sure your robot poetry and coding errors hit new heights of confusing brilliance.
Perfect, and everything is set in Google Sheets. Add him to contact. Frank Zane, phone number and email. Contact agent gets triggered.
Ah yes, Frank Zane, because saving Mr. Universe's number is just my daily mundane task.
And there we have Frank Zane in Google Sheets. What's the mail of Sam Big from my contacts?
Sure, just email Sam. He loves spam more than canned meat.
There's the mail. Of course, the stuff from my sheets. I hope you see how powerful these AI agents are, and I can assure you, I can nearly guarantee you that this is the worst tool that you will ever use. These tools get better every year, every month, every week, every day. We get new models all the time, so I am relatively sure that you can build really, really cool things. So have fun trying this stuff out. I am sure you will love it. And you can make these things bigger, smaller, you can adjust them perfectly for you. I will give you all my workflows, so I am relatively sure you can do something with these workflows. Just make them bigger, smaller, however you like. Maybe the Gmail tool, make it a bit smaller. This made some problems from time to time, but the rest seems to work perfectly. Will AI agents change the world?
AI agents. They're like teenagers, promise to change the world, but mostly ask dumb questions and play video games.